The original Twister, starring Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, was a staple of my childhood, to say the least. And while I love that movie, I didn't really have many high expectations for this standalone sequel. But I gotta say, I was kind of surprised. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and tell a friend if you haven't. And if you're new, check out the channel and let me know what you think. Let's dive into Twisters. Twisters is one of those movies that's kind of hard to critique because everyone going to see this movie knows what this movie is. It's just big, bombastic, dumb summer fun. It's not a movie that's trying to be something intricate or relay a profound message. It's just a thriller. That's what it is, plain and simple. And as I stated up top, I'm a huge fan of the original. You know, it came out when I was very young. Seeing tornadoes on screen was just incredible for its time. And it is a fun movie. While both movies don't really make a lot of sense, they're just what they are. And this one is no different than the original. While I don't think it has as much heart as the original, I don't think the cast is as enjoyable as Twister. It still has a lot to love about it. Daisy Edgar Jones and Glenn Powell are as charismatic as leads as you could find, and they're delightful. Their relationship has a lot of soul to it, their chemistry is great, and both of them are fantastic action stars in their own right. And listen, the reason people go to a movie like this and went to a movie like Twister back in the day is because they want to see these giant tornadoes on screen ripping things up. And there's no shortage of them in this film, just like the original. All the scenes that include tornadoes and the havoc that it produces, they're great. The CGI looks great. The effects are great. The elaborate wreckage that they create within the set designs looks fantastic. This movie's great looking. And while there's no cinematography that really stands out, you're not going to ride home about the gorgeous cinematography of this film. But what Twisters does do with its camera work is pretty unique. There's a lot of use of drone footage, a lot of utilization of unique film editing styles, and they keep it creative to sort of make up for that. The other thing I enjoyed quite a lot was in the original, you get a lot of scenes of tornadoes just ripping barns to shreds, ripping houses, tossing cars, cows, etc. What Twisters does is it does that, but it adds some color to it. There's a scene where Glenn Powell's character, Tyler, rides into a tornado he's a YouTuber in the movie, and blasts off some fireworks and lights up this tornado. It was silly, it was dumb, but it was cool to see on screen. You know, it made for a great image. And they do this a couple times. They shoot rockets into the tornado just for fun, and it's, like I said, silly, but it's fun to watch, especially on a big screen where you should definitely see this movie. I enjoyed all of the characters for the most part. I think Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones' characters are right up there with Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. They kind of go toe to toe. The chemistry of both couples is great. The acting from both sets of performers is fantastic. I do think the original stands on top of this one, though, in terms of the rest of the cast. I mean, the cast in the original was fantastic, and I don't think this cast in Twisters quite matches up to that. There's a few memorable characters, but other than that, they all just kind of fall in the background, which was a little of a disappointment. Now, as I stated up top, I didn't have high expectations for this movie narrative-wise. You know, at its core, it's a movie about chasing down tornadoes. There's only so much you can do. You know, the original, it wasn't, I will be the first to admit, the original Twister, it's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie. And, you know, the story's simple. It's a team of scientists that are trying to develop data so they can create a better alarm system to give people better warnings for these tornadoes and help more people survive the events. And it's simple. It makes sense. It's grounded. This story, they try their hardest to do that. You know, Daisy Edgar Jones is a college student. She's working to try to get a grant to try and figure out a way to sort of suffocate a tornado so that less people will be affected by these events in the future, and maybe they have a way to prevent these. And it's not quite clear how this works. I'm not a meteorologist. I don't know if any of this is based in any sort of scientific reality or not. But this movie tries. It really does try to paint a compelling narrative, and it's fine. A lot of it doesn't make sense. There's one part where Glenn Powell straight up says, we still don't understand how tornadoes form or really work. But then at the end of the movie, they just stop a tornado with some solution that they develop, him and Daisy Edgar Jones together. But I don't really know how they did that, since they don't know how tornadoes work. So it is what it is. It's a narrative that they try to develop. They try to create a compelling one. It's not really that convincing, but hey, you enjoy everything around it, which is really what matters. All in all, if you're a fan of the original, despite how goofy it is, and you're just looking for a good time to go out and see a dumb, fun summer blockbuster with great action sequences, fun characters, then I think if you go check out Twisters and just kind of leave your expectations at the door, don't expect anything super profound, then you'll enjoy it. I had a good time, but I have to say, the original is still better.